Hi everyone, welcome back to Shrek 2. We are still doing this pointless Jack and Jill shit that has nothing to do with anything. It's kind of just busy work to pad out the game, but I have to say I am perfectly fine with doing this fairly easy level because I now know from playing ahead that the levels do, in fact, get more difficult. I don't know why I keep stating this as if it's, like, weird or surprising for a video game to get harder over time. And this is something that I've run into with this game that you just saw happen there, where one of the members of my party will just get stuck and forget how to run around something. And it can fuck you up sometimes. I've also gotten knocked off of ledges by characters who were trying to break open boxes and fucking kicked my ass off of a ledge. I don't know if that will end up in a video because I might cut it out because it was one of many deaths, but in one of the later levels. But yeah, this is it's one of those times. And also some other things I've noticed is, especially with the switches, sometimes I will stand near a thing facing something and be pressing the button that I'm prompted to press to do the thing, and it just like won't do it, or I have to press it like 15 times, or be positioned in a very specific way. We've already encountered the thing of enemies hitting you and your ouchie animation being, longer than it will take them to hit you again and take damage. So there are a lot of cases where you get hit once and then you're just kind of in a corner and you can't move or hit back because your character is too busy going, "Ow! That smarts!" for like 90 seconds. And then you fucking die. And, or I've also had characters I have to redo a whole part because a character alerts an enemy that starts a whole thing, or falls off a ledge and then the whole thing starts over. I don't know. I like the whole... I like this sort of party aspect of it where there's like 4 members who all have different things you can do and you can switch between them, but I really wish that they could fare better on their own, and like, they don't even have to be, like, great teammates. Like, I know in LEGO Star Wars, when you're playing by yourself, your other character will, like, do nothing and be completely ineffectual, and you basically have to do everything yourself, which is fine. I mean, it's single player, I'm used to doing that. But they shouldn't actively fuck it up, which they often do, or just make it harder, which they often do in this game. So that's one of those... you all know me, I'm a very big fan of these, kind of janky, lower budget, lower quality, in some cases, games, licensed games. But one of the downsides to playing those types of games is that they are very flawed, and the jankiness can often lead to things being unnecessarily annoying or difficult or causing problems. And I didn't even notice the bees. It took me, like, getting hit 3 times to notice all the bees. And I don't know what these little lamps do. I thought that maybe you could, like, smash them open and there'd be something in them or something, but I don't know. Also, I like how the gnome, or the dwarf, I suppose, not gnome. The dwarf, the pig, fuck. That last piggy, after I already did his 25-minute chicken mission, try saying that 10 times fast, 25-minute chicken mission. When you go up to him again, he asks if you want to murder more chickens, and if you say, "No, I already did it, and I'm busy," he says, like, "Curse on you and your firstborn." Like, I already fucking helped you. If there's more chickens, that's a you problem. You already gave me my photograph that says that I did it. There's something about the way these cows look that is very funny and mildly off-putting to me. I like the way that they kind of, like, shimmy, and their faces are, like, don't have many definable features, and they're just generally... They look kind of perturbed. As well they should be. I mean, they have a cookie sticking a fucking candy cane in their ass every 5 feet so that they move.
The other pigs have accidentally cut down Jack's beanstalk. They thought it was a dandelion. I'm trying to grow another so Jack won't notice, but those filthy rats keep eating it. Can you help me? Oh, you've made me happy as a pig. Wait, I am a pig. And happy.
Anyway, are you ready for some more rat smashing? You know how much we love those. Just hitting these squishy rats. These would be really good... they may actually be too detailed. I was going to say these would be a good addition to the Twitter account Low Poly Video Game Animals. But yeah, they may actually be a little bit too big. I mean, they definitely look fucking weird, so there's that. They remind me of the rats from the Rat movie. We're the Rats. I haven't seen that in years. I should watch that again. That would be a pretty good stream watch. I've been sort of, I haven't decided on, like, what games I want to do streams of whenever I do stream. And a lot of the multiplayer games that we usually do have been, like, kind of busted. Not busted as in they don't work, but just we're not really feeling them lately. So I've been leaning more toward, like, watching stuff on stream. I've been having fun with that. Like, we watched one of the direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies on the last stream. And then my webcam randomly stopped fucking working at the end of it. Like, it just froze, and then I restarted the stream and restarted OBS and even restarted my computer because not only did that not work, but then, like, my USB mouse and keyboard weren't being detected at all. Like, nothing was happening. Nobody could hear me in the Discord call, but they could hear me on stream, and the stream was still going. It was really fucking weird, and I just had to, like, hard reset my computer, just hit the off button, which I never enjoy doing. But yeah, it was just example number 4000 of my computer being incorrect for no discernible reason. And yeah, at first here, I kept thinking that you had to get the basket over the blue thing, but that's where you're supposed to stand. And once I figured that out, I was pretty golden. And I like this mini game. It's pretty simple. It reminds me of something that would be in, like, a Mario Party type deal or something like that. And you gotta be pretty quick. They really be pooping these eggs out. And man, the people who made this game really got a lot of mileage out of these fucking chickens that they made. There have been quite a few chickens in this game. Never would have guessed it for Shrek, but, you know, like, when I think Shrek, I don't really think chicken. I like chicken. So, yeah. I love when I do that, when I quote something and the quote is, like, normal enough of a phrase that it would be hard to tell, like, that I am referring to anything or what I'm referring to. I like doing that. Making random references to shit is the best form of commentary. If you're like me and you sort of model yourself after the, like, 2007 to 2012 school of Let's Play methodology. I don't know. Anyway, I believe that is just about it. Or no, we have one more piggy problem to... I was trying to think of a cool verbose word, but solve. yeah, in the meantime, I have a funny little story that I've been saving up for you. I was gonna say it in the last video, but I kind of ran out of time. I didn't even have time to do a stupid sign-off. That's how you knew I really talked myself into a corner. I was talking about my sister saying her pee was hot, which I maintain still just happened, but... Anyway, I have an embarrassing story, another embarrassing story, but it is not of my own, but it is one that I am, that I've experienced. Oh, hey, it's hero time, you know? And yeah, we gotta watch out for the big bobs. The big bob, the tomatoes. So, this is another one, like the hot pea one, that is, for one thing, it is scatological in nature, because you know me, and we love that. And it's also another thing where the veracity of it could potentially be disputed. I witnessed this, but you know how it is. You know, you think you see something, and then other people say they saw it, and then you just kind of believe it, but, you know, no one really knows. And it's one of those things where, well, I'll just say it. You'll get what I mean. So, to preserve their privacy and dignity, I will refrain from saying the name or gender or subject that this teacher taught, because especially if it turns out that this whole thing is untrue and what I'm saying is not what happened, and in which case I don't want to slander them. But anyway, this was in my, I think, sophomore year, and it was my period right before lunch. And the teacher put some things on the board for us to do, and then said that they were going out of the room to take care of something real quick. Around this time, now, okay, so important geography information. My desk was it was like the third back from the front of the room, in the middle of the room, where there was a little break in between the desks, and that's where the teacher's projector and little overhead screen thing was. And that's where they would do the teaching. And I was right next to that. Like, my desk was positioned right next to that. So, around the time that they said they would be leaving, I noticed a stench in the room that was rather poop-like, and I was confused and scared, because it literally smelled like shit was in the room, like poopy, and so the teacher left. And I could have sworn I saw a little bit... They were wearing white pants, and I could have sworn that I saw a little bit of brownishness around the butthole area of their pants. And so I very quickly concluded, of course, that they had shit their pants and were leaving to change their pants, or, you know, deal with that. And so it was like the end of class when this happened, and they told us to just work on this thing while they left. And so class ended a couple minutes later, the bell rang for lunch, and they had not come back yet. And so we just left. And then I went to lunch, and then at the end of my lunch period, on the way to my next class, I saw that teacher in the hall, and at least from what I remember, they were now wearing a different dark pair of pants. Which, at least to me, would be pretty good evidence of them shitting their pants. And this is what I mean by the... And once again, there was at least one other person in the class who also smelled the poopy, also thought that they saw something on their pants, and then saw them in the new pants. So I'm not the only one who experienced this. I'm not the only one... And of course, I told fucking everybody immediately. But the reason that it could be disputed is, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, after you've told a story a number of times, because this was, I mean, almost 10 years ago already at this point. Once you've told a story enough times of something funny that happened, you kind of, like, sometimes wonder if certain details were, like, if you just remember that because it makes the story work or whatever, you know what I mean? So, and with that, it's particularly the brown on the pants, like, you know, because I don't have a vivid image in my mind of that, but I remember that being a thing. And either way, it smelled like poop. I mean, that I will not, that is, you know, 100% true. It smelled like shit, and it was right near my face, and that is where the teacher was, and then they left, and then they were wearing new pants later. But it's one of those things. It's kind of like when you read about a lot of the connections that people had to, like, Jeffrey Epstein. This is a very strange thing to compare it to. But I was talking to someone about Epstein stuff the other day, and I mentioned that the reason that kind of thing, not just Epstein in general, but, like, you know, conspiracy stuff that involves, like, intelligence people and whatnot, where there are, you know, connections that you see between, that you just have, like, a handful of facts that you know to be true, or more than likely are true, and put together they seem to suggest a certain narrative, a certain way of understanding what's going on, and so it's like, it looks like that, but you don't really have all the information, and some of the information may be sus, etc., and so you can't say for sure that those connections are there. It's a little bit like that with this story, where it's like, it is true that it smelled like poop, it is true that I remember seeing the teacher in other pants afterwards, and it is true that I remember seeing poopy color on the pants. But I cannot, I wouldn't go to court with this story, for whatever reason they may need me to. I'm not 100% confident in my understanding of the events. However, I absolutely hope that that was what happened, because it was really fucking funny. That's why I remember it. So, even if it's not true, I'm just, like a lot of conspiracy things, it just feels right. So I think it's safe to, at least in my head, just assume that it's probably true. And if not, whatever, you know, it's still a funny story. Many of the best stories are fake, are made up. So, anyway, yeah, that's my fun little thing. So anyway, here we are in the Fairy Godmother castle, factory, building, headquarters, whatever. I got these orbs to do that, and then I was gonna get the orb and put it there, which is what you're supposed to do, but then I was like, well, wait, this looks like you can just jump over it. Nope, jumping over it is the same thing as going through it in this stupid-ass game. So now I have to spend 15 minutes fighting enemies that take 26 hits. I gotta say, I watched a couple of long plays, not all the way through it all. I, skimmed around them, of the Shrek 1 game and the Shrek the 3rd game, both of which I've played. I've beaten the Shrek the 3rd game, actually. And I may play it. It looks pretty jank. All of them are. All 3 of the main Shrek games. I mean, I think there's one of Shrek 4, but I never played it. I don't know what it's like. Whatever. But Shrek 1, Shrek 2, and Shrek the 3rd are all very janky games, especially the GameCube version of Shrek 1, which if I do play it, it'll probably have to be that one, because the only other thing that it came out on was the original Xbox, and I do not have an original Xbox emulator. I don't know how good Xbox emulation is, and I'm not gonna buy an original Xbox. There's not enough games for really any Xbox console. There's not enough games that are exclusively on it for me to have any reason to own them. I mean, I did own an original Xbox back in the day, but that was just because I didn't have a PS2 or GameCube until I did. And I had an Xbox 360, but that was before I had a PC that was good enough to play a lot of that generation games, meaning like '07 to like 2013, 2014, those two game generations. Or I guess that would just be one. Cause yeah, I forgot, I guess, was that 8th generation? Is that what, like, Wii U, 360, PS3, like 2006 to 20, I guess, I think the PS4 and the Xbox One came out in 2014 or end of 2013 or something, so yeah, I don't know, I think that's regarded as the 8th generation of consoles, and it was a pretty long one in comparison to other ones, but anyway, whatever that generation was, I didn't have a computer yet that could run those games, and so the 360 was my way of playing them, but now I do, and now I don't really have any reason to own an Xbox, or a PS5 for that matter. I make a PS5 if they end up having enough good stuff, but the PS4 didn't have enough stuff that I was actually interested in. Oh, and yeah, here's the mirror whispering sweet nothings over a black screen for some reason.
Want to get back and help Shrek?
I thought my game was broken at first. Anyway, now here's this very, like, convoluted pressing buttons and taking the characters up. It's actually not difficult and kind of clever, but it requires you to use your brain for 2 seconds, which is very difficult for me. So yeah, but anyway, I didn't have anything really interesting to say about either of those early Shrek games. It's just that I would like to do a video, at least a video, on both of them at some point. The first Shrek, when I emulated it, the GameCube version gave me some problems at the very beginning. It was in a stream, and I don't know if I've saved the stream, so I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, it gave me some issues where it was like, you're supposed to be able to do a certain move, and it wasn't doing it, and so I couldn't go forward, and this was like 2 minutes into the game. But I remember a good chunk of it. I didn't, and I actually watched a long play of the Xbox version, and for 2001, the graphics were actually pretty good. They're not nearly as good on the GameCube. I understand that it was one of the first commercial games to use something, and I don't have the technical knowledge to know what it actually is or what the significance of it. Deferred shading is what it was, and also bump mapping. I don't know if it was among the first to use bump mapping, but that it uses it liberally to make things more textured looking, and it looks pretty decent for 2001 standards, even though the camera is extremely jerky and weird. The movement and animation is quite poor, and Shrek moves, he's like the bionic ogre and moves at like 40 miles an hour, which is pretty fun. Yeah, it's even more janky than this game. And then Shrek the Third is looks like shit. I remember it looking pretty good when I played it as a 10-year-old. It's also like better than the movie though, and honestly I was watching some parts of it and I was having a great time watching the long play because I could I would recognize all of these different levels. This part is basically like the parts where you're getting chased by the dog and over the hedge. I am noticing some similarities between these DreamWorks movie games from this time, of, you know, the different sort of gameplay modes that you're normally doing.
Okay, we are safe here. It can't senses these things.
Yeah, you couldn't sense.
But yeah, it was great, those memes from the Shrek 3 game. I don't know, it'll probably be kind of a pain in the ass, but like the combat, it looked like it would be pretty fun to at least try out, so I need to find out. I don't remember what systems it came out on because it was 2007, So it may have been on the PS2. I think I played it on either the PS2 or the Wii. But I'll figure it out and try to do, again, at least one video of it, or maybe stream it sometime or something. Because especially, like, the combat and the collecting stuff, that seemed to be a little bit more to my liking than this game in that one, but we'll see. Also, fantastic animation on that bucket dropping. Anyway, we're going to continue with Fairy Godmother in the next video. See you then for that.